First came the drums, pounding, primal, like a heartbeat. Then the guitars began to scream. Sarah let them both wash over the crowd before she sung out a note to follow them. She filled it with pain and anger, so tangible they could almost feel it. And then the song began. She let her voice flow across the crowd, pushed by the beat of the music. Gradually, they stopped shouting to their friends or the bartender and turned towards the stage. They even stopped checking their mobile phones. Good. Now she had their attention. Usually she wasn't very concerned about what her food thought of her music, but tonight she had a different plan. It was a good crowd. Plenty of goths, as usual, but a few punks and even some ravers wondering what the fuss was about. Wasn't just the teenagers either, which was excellent, because the older ones had been angrier for longer. They'd need that anger when they were crawling out of the earth later tonight. Sarah had been concerned about the size of the venue, but the crowd filled it nicely. She usually booked smaller places. If people got turned away, it made them keener to see what they had missed. The band made less money this way, but the money wasn't important. Being part of an exclusive gig packed so tight the crowd became a single, screaming gestalt made them a community, if only for a night, and that made everything so much easier. After another rock song, it was time to pull down the tempo and draw them in. The level of the band dropped too, no longer deafening the crowd, making them draw closer to listen. The lyrics of the song were a metaphor. They spoke of oppression and those who made money from the work of others. As she sang, Sarah reached out into the shadows and let them play across the walls of the room. Amidst the flickers, figures bent in suffering and toil. Cities and factories chewed the souls of the people while they laughed and grew fat on profit. Sarah let her will seep into the music, a power washing over the minds of those listening. By the time the song was finishing, the crowd was chanting the chorus with her. She stopped singing then, pointing the microphone into the crowd.
Let them hear you!
She yelled at them, and the crowd screamed back.
Let them know we're not gonna take this anymore!
The crowd surged in response. Each one of them was angry for 100 different reasons, their passion lifted by the music. The alcohol helped too, something Sarah always made sure was cheap and easily available at every gig. The crowd was in a fury. A few more songs and she'd have the crowd in a frenzy, ready to let loose and tear the city apart. They would be Sarah's new army. A few would even become recruits. The 𝗟𝗏 waiting outside the city would need a vanguard. With the city in flames, the assault would really begin, and everyone would know that it was Sarah who had made it possible. Should the bishop fall in the conflict, Sarah had little doubt who might be chosen to replace him.